Hey YouTubers, I am here today to talk about a watch that I think is a pretty special offering from Seiko. I consider it really one of the best values, not a bargain, but a value in the automatic mechanical watch world, specifically the diver style watches. What we have on the left here is the Seiko SKX007. And on the right is the Seiko SKX009. The only difference between these watches is really the color scheme. Obviously I have different bands on them, but that's just something you can switch at will. What we have here is the 007 on the left in a black color. The dial and the bezel insert are both black. And on the 009 we have a dark blue dial and red and blue bezel insert, and commonly called a Pepsi scheme. So the watches are identical. It's kind of your choice as to what color scheme you want. Now, why do I consider these watches to be a great value? Well, it's because they aren't horribly expensive. I got this one, this 009, used for $165. I think it goes for somewhere over $200. You'd think I would research this before I do the video, but I didn't. Anyway, it's somewhere around the $200 mark, I believe, with the metal band, and I believe they're in the mid 100s, high 100s with a rubber band. Here's the rubber band that comes with either watch. This band, just speaking about it for a second, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not bad, but it's not a very stretchy, pliable rubber. It almost feels more like plastic. However, it's pretty comfortable when you have it on, and it looks great on the watches. But as you see, I've chosen to replace the band on the 009 with a NATO strap. And on the 007, this happens to be, I believe it's called a K2 model, so it's SKX007K2. It has a Rolex Jubilee style bracelet on it. So I'm just going to grab one of the two and start talking about what's special about this watch. First off, it's very well constructed. The head of the watch itself is fairly weighty. It's nicely put together, stainless steel. It's somewhere over 40 millimeters. I think it's a 42 millimeter watch in diameter, and it has the winding, or I shouldn't say winding, that is one small disadvantage of these watches, but it has the setting crown at 4 o'clock. Well, let's talk about the movement for a second. This has a workmanlike Seiko movement in it. It's not decorated. It's not attractive in any way. It is just reliable. So one nice thing about it is it does have day and date, and the day and date are quick set, which is nice. You get the watch into date setting position, then you turn the crown one direction for the date and the other direction for the day, and then pull further out to actually set the time. The bezel is 120 clicks. They're very fine clicks, so they're kind of soft. See how quiet that is? So it's a different feel than a lot of the divers I've felt before. Certainly sort of a softer feel than my Omega Seamaster. But I kind of like it, and I'll keep saying it. I like everything about this watch, honestly. Let's have a look at the back. The back's got this nice engraving. It's probably really molded, but that's the typical Seiko diver engraving on the back. I'll talk about the band a little more now for a second. As I said, this is sort of a copy or an homage to a Rolex Jubilee bracelet. It's very slinky, as you can see. It's not particularly heavyweight. It's not really heavyweight at all. It rattles. However, let me tell you, this is a very comfortable bracelet. And I think it's comfortable because it flexes. So it sort of drapes on your wrist. So while it doesn't feel, you know, like tank treads like the Omega Seamasters bracelet does. It has its own thing going for it. There's nothing wrong with it. I like it a lot. Another advantage of these watches is the quality of the loom. They're very bright. It doesn't take much to get them charged, but I'm going to demonstrate it here with my usual technique, if I can get this guy to sit up nicely. There we go. So I'm going to hit it with a flash, and then we'll see what it does when I turn the lights off. Okay, here goes the flash. And I'll hit it one more time for good measure. Now I'm going to go turn off the lights. As you can see, the loom is plenty bright. It's actually surprisingly bright, and I believe Seiko is really known for this. So you won't be disappointed there. I don't wear my watches when I'm sleeping, so I can't really say how long it lasts, but it is plenty bright, and I assume that once your eyes have adjusted to the dark and you're asleep, it probably is visible in the early morning when it's still dark. So I don't think you have any issue there. So let me talk about one tiny disadvantage of this watch, and it is very tiny. It does not hand wind. So to wind it, you've got to shake it, because it doesn't hand wind. No big deal. I keep mine on a winder, or I wear it every day. I love this watch so much I've been wearing it every day. But other than that, I don't know. I consider them fairly perfect. Alright, and here's the obligatory wrist shot. And I think you can see what I mean about the drape here. I find that to be very comfortable, but I don't have any problem with other style bracelets either. But I think the watch looks great. It's a masculine looking watch, and it wears very easily. Now I'll make a comment, as I said, this isn't a heavyweight bracelet, especially the clasp. It's obviously just pressed metal, so it's a little shaky. But again, we're talking about I don't know, around a $200 watch here. So I think it's plenty good quality for the cost. And if you want an oyster style bracelet, there's a guy on eBay that sells them. I think he goes under the name W-Jean, W-J-E-A-N, and he sells an oyster style. I've never felt one. I don't know how it feels relative to this band, but some people prefer that style, so you might want to check that out. So that's really it. That's my quick overview of the Seiko SKX007 and SKX009. Both very fine watches. I highly recommend you pick one of these up, even if you like high-end watches. You can use one of these as your beater watch, and you won't be dissatisfied in it at all, in my opinion. So check them out. I highly recommend them. So with that, I'll close. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more. Talk to you later.